Oakley dokley.
That's one of the reasons why I even thought to have our inner circle pop in if they are listening or watching because they may have some ideas as well.
We are live. Hello, friends and brothers. This is Justin Jones, and we have, of course, the biggest lobster on the Gulf Coast right now, Dennis Yates.
That's a fact. Let me get my lobster crawls here.
A little more crabby than usual.
Man, I tell you, check this out.
Oh my gosh, you're ugly.
Doesn't even doesn't even really give it justice.
Hmm.
Look at that.
It's gonna be real fun in about 24 hours when it starts to really hurt.
Do what?
So it's gonna be real fun when once it starts hurting.
Oh, I know. Yeah, and I'm supposed to go to Mexico next this weekend, this coming weekend. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's gonna be a miserable week leading up to it.
Yeah, we have a few people in the chat already. We got Brad, KI5ULR. We got Oscar. Welcome, Oscar.
That's Brother Hoff.
Brother Hoff, okay. Where was
Yep.
it? Oh, Brother Lawson's here. Austin Berry. Devin McLean. How are y'all? Yeah, he's
Very
burned.
nice.
Dennis is burned. He fell asleep outside. He was supposed to be working.
No,
He fell asleep in his lawnmower.
I took my daughter fishing again this weekend,
Mm.
and actually it was first we had a wedding to go to, and then after that, I decided, well, let's just get a hotel and stay down there and go fishing, and so
Hello,
that's what we
James
did all
William.
day today.
Yeah, I don't have
James
to.
who?
James William from Connecticut.
Oh,
I don't have the patience to fish. If I'm being honest, I just that whole inner peace and like the meditation and all that quiet time with yourself. I don't have the patience for it. I can't do it. I'm not one of those guys. Like some people find zen out on the boat. I just find sunburns, kind of like you did. But that's why I don't like everything I study. Like says, hey, you got to get really good at meditating. I probably should because I can't sit still and be quiet long enough. But I don't have the patience for it. I was like, where is my zen at, man?
yeah, that's a rough and rugged road right there.
Yeah.
I used to. Well, I'm always on the go, but I can find my happy place and just
Oh, I can
zen
find my
out.
happy place. That's not a problem. It's a peaceful, inner, quiet, happy place. That's impossible.
I was gonna say we're not talking about your toilet. We're talking.
Speaking, I got something new over the weekend.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have three for our three newest members down in Corpus Christi that I need to get to them so that they will be ready to start discussing the Scottish Rite. By the way, congratulations.
Thank you. It's going to have to go on my stack of books that I need to read or I have started reading and got distracted with.
When I
This is what I'm reading right
I would-
now. I have to finish this before I finish. Actually, I got to finish this book first because it was
Okay.
loaned to me, and then this book was loaned to me also. So I have to finish that next, and then I can move on to finish rereading. There's no Texas without Freemasonry, and then I might be able to start this and finish it.
okay, since we're talking books, I'll be right back.
But I actually
Golly.
I stopped by the dollar store on the way home because I was thinking, I used to take notes as I read. I kept a journal, and it seemed like reading takes so freaking long. But I was like, I need to start taking notes because I need to start turning the things I learned into like presentations and
Into
stuff.
actionable
Actionable items.
Oh,
And really, that was the whole.
presentations.
That was the whole.
I thought you wanted to learn something. I didn't realize you just wanted to tell somebody else how to.
Well, what's one of the best ways to learn is by teaching. Anyway, so yeah. Well, I mean, one of the big charges from Saturday was sharing what you learn with other people, being a teacher. So
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I really need to get back in the habit. So I just got a little I wanted something with lines, but I just got like a little generic notebook. So I'm gonna start using that and take notes as I read and turn that into actual items and share with people that are interested in things like that.
Yep.
So.
I tell you what, when I went through the Scottish Rite, the work was made such an impact on me. I was getting up at 5:30 in the morning so that I could read for an hour and a half before I went to work every day. I finished the book within a couple of weeks, The Bridge to Light.
Yeah.
And then it just took off from there.
My biggest.
Now you can do the Master Craftsman program too.
Yeah, I'm actually going to look into that. My biggest issue I have right now, and I think it's just because the types of books that I read has shifted. Because I used to read, I used to read a lot of fact or fiction. I used to read a lot of fiction when I was a kid, just like actual like stories and stuff. And I'd stay up late for hours reading books. And now, since I stick with nonfiction, I start reading and then I get really sleepy after about 10 or 15 minutes. So it feels like it takes forever.
So bad.
It feels like it takes forever to read anything because I get tired. And then I used to read in bed. I had like a lamp by my bed and I'd read. Now I can't do that because I got kids coming in and out all the time. So
yeah, that's why I get up early and do it, because nobody wants to get up that early. And also after that you have to keep going for the rest of the day, so you don't allow yourself to fall back to sleep. So just so that you brothers know, and visitors as well, friends and brothers, we're going to have, before too long, we're fixing to have several people on the show. And I can tell you that we also are committed to doing a forum for an online forum for all the people who are making themselves available. And that way we can ask some questions and get some answers on how these brothers think that they can help us to regain our confidence in the Grand Lodge.
Yep.
Regain our confidence in our brothers. Right now we're so divided in our state that I want to know what these brothers are going to do to bridge that gap. So just so that all our listeners, we have decided to do that. I'm going to reach out to all of the members, all of the brothers that have made themselves available, and see if they would like to come on the show, and we'll have a special event with that.
Yeah.
And
so
then
if
also,
sorry, let me just real quick. If you're
ahead.
watching and if you have any questions, we already kind of have a list, but if you have any questions that you really like us to ask, keep in mind we're going to field the questions, right? We don't want to touch on. We just want to learn about the person. We're not going to talk about anything controversial.
Yeah, we're not taking cheap shots.
Yeah, no cheap shots or anything like that. But if you have genuine questions that you would like to see asked, we can't guarantee that they'll get asked, but we will. We'll definitely consider putting it on the list.
Yeah, because there's at a certain point we have to, we can only ask so many questions because there's a lot of people that have made themselves available this year.
Yep.
So there's only so many questions we'll be able to get through with everybody. But it'd be nice if we could say, our listeners wanted to know this. Our listeners wanted to know this. And not just what we wanted. Even though I know that what we want to know is the same thing you want to know, but it just validates that it's not just us that's saying this.
Yep.
Now, I was going to tell you, as we get our new series going with interviewing people, a book by Chuck Dunning.
Oh, I got that one.
Contemplative Freemasonry, or Masonry.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the Contemplative Lodge.
I do not have that one. Is that newer or older?
I think it's the second in this 3-book series, or within the 3 books. I think this is second.
Does that have a whole lot of guided things as well, or is that more a sit down and read kind of book?
Um, some more guided stuff.
Okay.
And here's another awesome one.
Who wrote that one? Is
Chuck
that
Dunning.
Dunning? Okay.
Yes, all three of these. Brother Dunning, he is phenomenal when it comes to explaining the spiritual portion of Freemasonry and helping you find inner peace. So, Justin, you might want to reread those books
Yeah, probably.
since you can't find it.
Where you going with this?
Brothers. Well, Justin, as we were
Yes.
talking about right before the show, I wanted to um, let all the brothers out there know that there is a brother that is, well, not just him, but his officer line, they're trying to work through the Vanguard Award system that we have here in Texas.
Can we pause that real quick?
Huh?
We have a question. Let's address this question real quick before we move on, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
The question is, who is making themselves available?
Oh, golly. I got to get the list. Hold on. I'll get the list and then I'll tell you here in a minute.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good question.
But
'Cause it's not probably something everybody has heard yet. But sorry, go ahead.
Right. But it is available for all to see. Just a second. I'm sorry. That's why I don't look at my phone while we're doing lives, because I have too many things going on all the time. So I will get the names for you as we go.
Okay.
But I want to finish this thought real quick. So, Brother Brad Hoff from Roy City Lodge is he and the other officers have decided to tackle the Vanguard, which, for those people out there that don't understand what the Vanguard is, basically it's doing Freemasonry. If you're doing what is all in the Vanguard, then your lodge is doing Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just talking Freemasonry, they're doing Freemasonry. So, first of all, hats off to you for that. Otherwise, they're on a certain section right now that's talking about the creating a vision for the lodge and a mission statement for the lodge, and then success. Now I can't say it. Succession planning, so that basically the worshipful master, senior warden, and junior warden are all on the same page as to what's going on in the lodge, and each warden builds on each other as they get into the east. Instead of tearing down what the last guy did, they're building on each other in this planning, and they're also creating long-term goals for their lodge to get them through the next 5, 10, 15 years. That's what succession planning is setting goals for the lodge. And then with doing that, it requires mentorship to make that happen. If you don't have the right mentors in place in the right areas of your lodge, then you can kiss it goodbye. So since they're working on that, Justin, why don't you give a quick thought to the vision of the lodge? How do you think the vision should be? Why is the vision somewhat different from the mission statement?
A vision is what we're about, and a mission statement is how we're going to do it, in my opinion. So a vision is what does this lodge really stand for, and what are our goals? And either one of these, it can't be determined by one man, right? The worshipful master can't say, okay, this is going to be our vision, this is our mission statement. Now you might say, this is my mission for the year, but it needs to coincide with the overarching vision and mission of your lodge, and that has to be determined by the leadership and stakeholders of the lodge. And what I mean by that is ultimately the leadership which is the primary officers, they need to meet at the beginning, really before even elections, and determine. You have to reevaluate this annually, right? Because if you have a vision and you never look at it again, if you never talk about it again, it's useless. It has no point. It has no purpose. So you have to look at it every year and determine, hey, are we on track for this? How do we feel about this still? Yada yada yada. But ultimately, it has to be determined by the leadership, and I'm talking about in its inception. It has to be determined by the lodge and the stakeholders. And what I mean by stakeholders, that is your active members. Some guy who no one has seen for 9 years really shouldn't have input in the vision of the lodge. I'm sorry. If they're not going to show up, if they're not going to be active, why we care about their opinion on it? So ultimately, to really get everything laid out, to really get going, you need to have a meeting, and with the intention of discussing the vision of the lodge. And this shouldn't be something that came out of the blue. It should be something that you've been having conversations with about the lodge members for a while. What do you feel we should be doing? How do you feel we are on track with what you think we should be doing? What could we do differently? So on and so forth. That way, when you do sit down with the lodge, you should already have a pretty good rough draft of what your vision and ultimately your mission statement looks like. And then once you have that established, it needs to be something that you're looking at on a regular basis. And by a regular basis, it needs to be reevaluated regularly, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it needs to be looked at on a regular basis. And what I would suggest is that it gets read or brought up at least one time when you meet. And by brought up, I mean said out loud. So that it's constantly, if your members cannot tell you the vision of the lodge after they have been a member for 6 months, you're not talking about it often enough.
Right. There's some lodges that they include that in their closing, not in the closing of the ritual, but when after they close lodge, somebody reads the vision of the lodge. Some of them do it before, which I think that's awesome, because you need to be focused on what your goals are at all time, especially when you're only meeting once.
Yeah.
You know, if you were in life together, building life together every day, then you wouldn't, you'd obviously not need to do that often because you see each other so much. But when you're only meeting once a month, especially for the first year, you should definitely present that to the lodge every meeting as part of your the things to do. I'm still looking for these candidates real quick.
Well, I could just tell you, like my school, like their mission statement. Or you can say it's their vision. It's kind of a. I wouldn't say it's really a great example of either one, but Joshua ISD will be a highly acclaimed model of educational excellence, and I know that because it is said every morning in announcements, right?
There you go.
And that's what I'm saying. It needs to be something that, and I agree, it needs to be said every meeting. I would probably do it after the opening, maybe after the pledge, but it needs to be done constantly, and it needs to be short and sweet, where everybody knows what you're about, and they need to. If someone says, "What's the vision and mission statement of your lodge?" First of all, it also needs to be posted somewhere prominently, but they should be able to tell you off the top of their head without giving the whole lot of thought.
Right.
Because everything, I guess you're still looking. Because everything.
Yes.
Everything that you do as a lodge, and this is why it's important, because everything you do as a lodge needs to align with that vision and mission statement. And if it doesn't, then you either need to reevaluate what you're about or don't do what you're talking about. Because too many lodges just they are reactive and not proactive. And what I mean by that is you're reactive when someone says, "Hey, let's do a raffle," because we hadn't done one in a while. Okay, let's do that. You're being reactive, right? You're being reactive because you don't really have a vision or mission statement anyway. So if someone wants to do something, you just do it. But a vision and mission statement allows you to be proactive, and someone says, "Hey, I really want to do a raffle." Well, the question is, to what end? How does that align with our goals? And if they can't tell you how it aligns with your, for example, if you want to be a lodge that's focused on education and brotherhood, then explain how that raffle will align with the education in the brotherhood of the lodge. And if you can't give a definite reason, then it's not something you should be doing. What if your lodge doesn't have it either, Oscar? Well, you have to create it. You have to create it, and that would.
Well, most lodges don't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Most lodges think their vision and their mission statement are the same as Grand Lodges, but it's not. We are all independent lodges working under our own governed bodies. And the way I look at it, to help anybody out there that's still wading in dirty water, the mission or the vision is basically your culture. What kind of culture is your lodge going to have? You know, like Justin was saying, is it going to be a fundraising culture? Is it going to be an education culture? Is it going to be, a ritual culture? What's your culture going to be? Now, and that doesn't have to just be one or two things. It can encompass every bit of it, which in reality, a big, healthy lodge is going to encompass every bit of it. It's kind of like, if you think about it, the shrine, they have all these little clubs that are all part of the culture of the shrine. The culture of the shrine is to have a good time, have fun, raise money for the hospitals, and that's their thing.
Yeah.
There's nobody ever looks at the shrine and doesn't think of the Shriner Hospital. So their culture is centered around that. Their mission or their vision is centered around that culture. And like you were saying, the mission statement is more of a defined method of how you're going to get there.
Yeah, I would say really, if you want to put it in a more practical term,
and not heavily defined either. Go ahead.
Your vision is your goal, and your mission statement is your roadmap for how you want to get there. It's your map, and like you said, it's not definite, because there may need to be some variation on your journey to get there, but so for example, if you say, well, we take good men and make them better, that's not really how are you doing that. That's not very good. And so that's why I never liked that, because it's not a vision, it's not really a mission statement. You need to have, well, SMART goals is probably a whole other conversation.
Right. Well, and also now you're saying, we're saying that the mission statement is a roadmap to get there, but it's not a detailed roadmap.
No.
The mission statement is, so the vision is the big picture of the culture. The mission statement is a big picture definition of how you're going to get to that culture that you're looking for. It's not a detailed thing that comes later in your planning and execution phase that you have with your officers of the lodge. And that's where succession planning is so important, because you can't change a lodge's culture in 1 year. It's not going to happen. It takes many years to do it.
Agreed.
We started working on Goliad 7 years ago. Really, they started it way before me, but and they started it with floor school. And every Wednesday is floor school in Goliad. Y'all have all heard me talk about it. So ritual was the big thing in Goliad, and it still is to this day, because we followed through with it. We gave it a full year of trial and error until we got that perfect combination to where now it's just a given that everybody's going to show up. So if you want that culture, that's another thing. It's going to require commitment from your stakeholders. all the officers and your stakeholders. That's why you have the past masters meeting after your officers decide on how they're going to do their job to support the mission. Then you have your meeting with your stakeholders, which is your past masters for sure, and really anybody that's in the line appointed also.
Yeah.
And I need to clarify, because when I was talking earlier about the officers, I was talking about the main three.
Yeah.
Or actually five, the main five, because you have your 3 elected, and then your other 2 elected, which all your elected officers, which is like the trustees at Grand Lodge. It's your master, senior warden, junior warden, treasurer, secretary. Those are your officers, and that's who you want to have in the very beginning, so everybody knows their job on what it's gonna take to get to that culture.
So David Lawson.
Then,
go ahead. Thought you're done.
Go ahead, and then you take it to the past masters, and you say, okay, this is our vision, because the vision is yours. The vision now it encompasses what the lodge wants, but once you encompass what the lodge wants, and you have everything, the vision and the mission statement, and then you know what all the officers are going to do, that's when you go to the past masters and say, okay, where are your strengths? Where can you assist these brothers in getting where we need them to be to create this culture? Mm-hmm. Because they're vested. Past masters are vested.
It won't make you sink, but you're not really getting anywhere either. And so it's important that I don't think you could necessarily come up with this overnight, and that's not what I'm suggesting. You can't just go into lodge and say, hey, we're going to create a vision and mission statement. What do y'all got? That won't work. Most lodges don't have the membership that is prepared to really have that kind of conversation. Yeah, Aaron, it's being slow. I think it's because of the weather. We got some rain going on. But anyway, so yeah, that would be difficult. But if you start having the conversations, well, what do you want out of the lodge? What is your goals for the lodge? Why did you join this lodge? What would you like to see us doing? You start having these conversations. You can get a feel for what the vibe is of the lodge, but you can also kind of start, I would say, almost kind of shepherding them towards something. So if you have 2 or 3 guys that have a totally different vision for the majority of the lodge, you can kind of start having conversations with them and shepherding them towards what the overarching mission and vision is. That way, when you actually have that conversation, you actually have that meeting, and you're sitting down with everybody and spelling out your rough draft. And I say rough draft because it's going to change. Don't come to the meeting expecting what you have to be what everyone accepts, but you have your rough draft. You can get a lot further, I think, than if you just came out of nowhere and started having that conversation.
I tend to agree, and I think that when you become junior warden, in fact, when you become senior deacon, you should start watching what's going on. You need to look from that point on. You should be watching your lodge and determining who the shaker movers are, and you also need to be determining who tends to facilitate certain events. Who is it that usually is always involved with the fundraising? Who is it that's always involved with the scholarships? Who is it that or wants to be involved, right? So you need to understand the dynamics of your lodge membership to understand where the culture is going to be. Because once you see those people and what they like to do, then you're going to see the ones that usually gravitate towards those people. And when you see some events get huge results and some events it's just 2 or 3 people there, then that's not your culture. Yeah. Your culture is where everybody else goes. Now, that being... Go ahead.
I was going to say we got a few comments real quick. So Brad says, the succession, there's 3 of them, so I'm just going to hit them all real quick. Brad says, the succession plan seems like it should be a turnkey handover of the guard that makes it easier for new master to step in and lead easier each year. James Williams says, the problem is every year there's a new master and then he changed direction from what the past was building. And then David Lawson says, but a succession plan goes against the automatic line progression, not being how it should be done. So, I would just say real quick, the succession, I'll just address each one real quick, and then Dennis, your thoughts. The succession plan isn't necessarily like a turnkey. It's more with the intent of creating consistency. So I don't know if there's ever really a turnkey handoff, but the incoming master should be in line with whatever the direction is of the lodge. James says, yeah, and so what James is saying is that every year there's a new master and you change direction. That's why we have to have that kind of succession planning, and that is
that's why we're creating these new ideas to do, and they're not new ideas. They've been teaching it for years in OLT, Officer Leadership Training.
Yep. And so having that will help create that. And to David's point about against the progressive line, so this doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't conflict with this idea that we have to do away with the progressive line. What it does is that it ensures that regardless of who goes into the East, they have a shared vision for the direction of the lodge, and they're not gonna have programs or go in a direction that totally conflicts or flies in the face with the direction of the previous worship master.
Right, because when you do that, you divide your lodge, and then you're in what seems to be a shit show every month when you go to your lodge meetings.
Yep.
And in reality, I believe in the progressive line. However, I don't believe it's automatic.
No.
It's not automatic that you go in. And this is just to address, Brother Lawson's concerns, is I actually believe in the progressive line. But it's not guaranteed. But the succession planning helps determine if somebody needs to go into the next seat or not. Because if they're not working with the future, the current leadership, and they're not working with the future leadership behind them, then you don't need that person in the East. If he's not working towards the same goals as everybody else for the good of the lodge, because that's what it's for, is the good of the lodge, then he doesn't need to be in the East. This isn't a dictatorship. So, and I've heard for years, from one of my mentors, you only get 1 year. Well, not really. In all reality, you should have been involved way before you ever got to that year. And if you're doing it with successive planning, then you're proving that you're ready and able to fill that gap. And in all honesty, if you prove not to be the guy that's going to go into the East next year, then your junior warden is going to be ready, because he's involved with that succession planning. So, I think even down to the senior deacon, it should be that way, because sometimes you'll see one person get skipped, but you won't usually see 2 people, right?
Yeah. I mean, you bring up something that's really important, is that, ideally, if you have a good worship master, why get rid of them, right? Let them do it another year or 2. But ultimately, that decision lies with the vote of the lodge. So it's good to have everybody on board just in case. I do want to point out my dad is on the chat. I think it's one of the first times I've seen Dad on here. So welcome, Darius Jones. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Brother Jones, for coming and giving us a good Brother Jones to talk to.
By the way, I was excited when I got this.
Ooh, mine's right here.
Yeah, would you chisel it out?
No, no, we actually give rings in San Antonio.
Oh, well, I got one of these instead. So prepare to be jealous.
Ooh. Now, okay. I see you. Hold on. If I can
I
hobble
was
my
looking
way
for the
over
book
here.
I just showed you. I was like, where did that book go I just had? Like, how did I misplace it? I haven't moved from my seat, and it's nowhere in my area.
See, brothers, this is why we can't have nice things because we have people like Justin around.
Really, what happened to it?
Oh, okay. Now, you may have the crayon hat, but I have the ducks.
Oh, no, I'm not going to join that. I don't do quack. So
I know
are you a
it
quackhead?
requires labor. Bet your dad is a member of the but I could see where you wouldn't.
So,
No, actually, I just became a member of the Ducks because I'm already doing a lot of that stuff anyways, helping out. So as the Knights of St. Andrew, we are hustling and bustling, no matter what's going on, we're part of it.
So they gave us a paper between the last 2 degrees, asking what kind of things we want to do to help to participate with. And I looked really hard at the Knight of St. Andrew, and I decided I do not want to be a Knight of St.
It's too much work.
No, it's not too much work. I was like, why would I want to do it? And it's like, really just because I want to be more awesome than Dennis. And it's like, well, I'm already more awesome than Dennis. I'm not going to do it just because Dennis does it. It's really what it came down to.
It wouldn't matter
Joking
if you
aside,
had.
joking aside, I was like, I really don't feel like I have to do something just because Dennis does it. And so I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I did sign up for the 27th degree. I really liked the 27th degree. I thought that was really cool. And the education committee. So I'll help out with those things. But I didn't really want to over commit myself to anything. So I'm sure that will change as time goes. I'm sure I'll end up doing a lot of crap. But for now, that's kind of what I stuck with.
Right. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but you didn't choose to be in the Knights of San Andrew. In our valley, it's invitation only. We watch our membership and see who is capable of and more than capable, but willing to put in the work before we invite them.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I didn't choose to do it.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find.
I didn't choose to do it either. I was chosen.
I was trying to find that quote, that Albert Pike quote that Zach shared with us last week, because there's a comment here on the chat. Let's see. Where's he at? So David McLean says, we're talking about the succession planning and all that stuff.
Yes.
So it sounds like people build something up just for it to get destroyed. And the thing is, it can happen.
But it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but it can. Because here's the thing. With any kind of progress, unless especially right off until it's part of the culture, you have to keep your thumb on them, right? You have to keep pushing and keep reminding, because if it's not part of the culture, as soon as you step back and take a breather, it reverts, right? And so the Albert Pike quote that was shared last week was, I can't remember exactly, I couldn't find it, but basically what it says is you should do good things, and you should work and put in effort, regardless of the fact that you might not get recognition, regardless of the fact that it could just go to crap at some point, regardless of the fact that it's hard or anything like that, simply because it's the right thing that you should be doing. And And I really agree with that. I mean, yes, it could all go downhill. It could go bad. And what happens if that happens? If it all gets destroyed, you start over again with what you've learned. And you just keep going.
Yeah, nobody learns anything from success. You learn from your failures.
That's true.
So you will have stumbles along the way, but as long as you're committed to the goal of bettering your lodge, then you're eventually going to get there.
Yeah.
And when you do it, and are more inclusive with all your brothers, your stakeholders, then it's more likely to be successful. And that's another reason why mentorship is so important. See, right now in our lodges, we have too many lodges that do not have a mentorship program. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, hardly anything really gets done. But when you have a mentorship program to where you're matching up this past master to this guy that just walked in the door and he's interested in joining Freemasonry. He's not even in yet. He's just interested. But he's visited enough times for you to get to know him and see. And a lot of times it helps if you have like a welcoming committee, because they will be the ones that ask the probing questions to that new guy that just walks in the door. And then it gets relayed back. And then you find the right mentor without that guy knowing. You find the right mentor to put in place that's going to match up with his aspirations and even, maybe what they do as a profession, like, have another police officer mentor a new member or a potential member that's a police officer. And you start that process ahead of time. That way they can form that bond as you go. There's more accountability as you go. And that mentor is going to be the one that is expressing the culture of the lodge, and it'll be better received by that new guy. So by the time he becomes a master of the law, a master mason, then he's already vested with that mentor, and that mentor can help guide him into the culture. And if it's not an exact fit, he knows him well enough. He can say, okay, I bet you're going to have fun over here. Why don't you try this?
Yeah.
And keep people, and it keeps both people involved. It keeps the mentor involved, and it keeps the apprentice involved. And that is vital to the success of Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. Every man from the dawn of day required a master apprentice relationship, a mentor apprentice relationship.
Yeah.
If you're a mentor and what you have to offer is not worth passing on to somebody else, then you're not a mentor.
Yeah.
Mentors have something to offer that's worth passing on to that apprentice. And that fills that void in that mentor, because he gets to pass down what he's learned. The apprentice, on the other hand, needs to be able to receive it. So it's a planned out thing, unlike how most people do and just throw them in with their catechism coach and they think that that's their mentor. And it's not. Yeah. It shouldn't be. He's just a coach.
The master-apprentice relationship is really important for the longevity and retention of that Mason. I mean, look at
that's how you shape cultures.
Yeah. I mean, look at Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, if he wasn't Anakin Skywalker's master, say instead it was Qui-Gon Jinn, then Qui-Gon Jinn, if he was still alive, he definitely would have sided with the Separatists, and it would have went a totally different direction. So your master-apprentice relationship is very... Dennis is just like, shut up. but on a serious note, I mean, it is exactly right. I mean, it's silly, but it's if you're not intentional about who is working with who, then they're going to go off in some other total different direction, and that may or may not be with Freemasonry. You have to, and if you don't have someone at that lodge that can provide that for them, I just be honest. I mean,
you need to find them in the district.
Find them in the district, yeah, or yeah. I mean, if That's a good way of putting it. Find it within the district. But if say he's a police officer, if you have a police officer that can teach them, and that's really the other thing. It's not everybody is in a position to teach, right? Like I'm a district instructor for 2 more months, but I'm not really in a position to teach anybody. I'm not taking on any apprentices, right? I enjoy. I mean, I'm a teacher. I enjoy teaching people, and I enjoy giving presentations, and I enjoy participating in degrees. But I personally, I don't enjoy the one-on-one trying to teach you on the catechism, and I also don't have the time for it. So it's important to not just find the right person, but to find someone that's capable, and that may make things a little bit more difficult. But you have to try. You have to be intentional. You can't just say, "Well, this is the guy that teaches everybody, so he's going to teach you," because that won't necessarily be a good fit.
Right. Yeah, that's you really have to understand the dynamics of your lodge. And you know how at church when they always give at the beginning of the year or in November, they pass out that list of all the different committees and ask you to choose your first, second, and third favorites that you think you would enjoy. Maybe that's what it takes. We've got the 5 basic things that lodges really need to be well-rounded lodges, right? You've got to have your good catechism. You've got to have good education, esoteric education. Mm-hmm. You've got to have good food. You've got to have that fellowship opportunity.
So
go ahead.
I noticed that. I noticed what you're talking about, and it really impressed upon me because from day one, they were very intentional. They were very intentional in mentioning committees and opportunities to be involved in telling you exactly what those were. And I think that's where
it creates expectation.
I think that's where we fail our new Masons and existing Masons in a lot of lodges, because we're not. Yes, they have to memorize their work. That is first and foremost. But you could still start putting that on their mind. You can still start telling them. And they can still help out with the things they're interested in. You don't have to put them on a committee. But
yeah, they can't be on a committee. Or they shouldn't.
They shouldn't be. But I think a lodge definitely should say, hey, and that's the thing. Here's the thing. Once you know your vision and your mission statement, you can make more informed decisions about the committees that you want and need. And then once you know that, you can start communicating that with people. And I mean, make a paper. I mean, Scottish Rite, they had a 1-page paper. What do you want to participate in? What degree do you want to help out with? What committees are you interested in? Yada 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 yada.
Right.
If you have a like 1 or 2,
you need that data.
Yeah, if you have 1 or 2 annual fundraisers, hey, do you want to help out with this fundraiser? Whatever your lodge is about, put that out there, put it on a piece of paper, formalize it, collect the data. That way, whenever stuff comes up, you have your list. And when they're done with their master's degree, you know exactly how to approach them. Hey, you want to teach people? Great. You want to give lectures? Great. You want to start working on and I would not put leadership on that. Like that's something, and it wasn't on that paper either.
That's the last thing.
That's the
last thing
yeah.
They should be thinking about.
That the tail can't wag the dog, right? If you come in saying you'll be worshipful master, sorry, no, that's. I
have to say I've seen the tail wag the dog too many times for you to use that statement. You are not allowed to do that.
Okay.
When they cannot walk straight,
shouldn't wag the dog.
When they cannot walk straight, yeah.
Oh, you're talking literal. Okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah, literally. I've seen it. Don't tell. Now, and this is a great point. So, as Justin was saying, you collect that data on all the members that you currently have. And then, when you've voted on that apprentice to receive the degrees, just slip him that piece of paper. Say, what kind of things do you like? That will make it so easy. Or you could do it the first time he walks through the door. These are the things that we do. Mm-hmm. What kind of things are your interests? And then it's easy if you have the data already on all your members.
Yeah.
And then you look at his and say, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 on this member or these members. Mm-hmm. And then you know who you're going to match up so that, it's more organic. It's
But
the crazy thing is everybody says that the relationship is better the more organic it is. This is true. However, you do have to have an intentional planning to match up those two potential organic souls or bodies or intellect. You've got to have that to match them up. It's vital to the process.
I think one of the biggest roadblocks to new Master Masons is after they're done with the question is, what do I do now? Because we've always told them what they do next. And we give them that stupid, get what you put into it. Well, if from day one you start talking about the opportunities, they
don't even know what.
And here's the thing, like at the Scottish Rite degrees, like it's 3 days if you go to all of them. But even if you just went to day 3, they mention the opportunities multiple times throughout the day, right? And my point is, where I'm going with this, is you get your EA degree, and it's an opportunity for everybody to talk. Mention that. Bring it up. He's not going to probably know what you're talking about or even remember it because his mind is blown. Bring it up after the fellowcraft degree, and then after the master's degree, and then bring it up regularly during the meetings. Say, hey, there's opportunities here. If you want to do this, this is your opportunity. Because one and done, from an educational perspective, you can't just tell somebody something once and they okay, I'll log that away and remember that. You have to keep it on their mind. Bring it up.
Right.
And that way, when he's done with his master's degree and he's turned in his work, he's been to enough meetings, he's heard it enough. Here's your opportunities. He's already filled out a paper. So he finishes, he turns in his work. Then someone that you designate comes up to him and says, okay, this is what you said you're interested in. This is your next step based off that. And that way, you're bringing him in. You're already telling him what his next step is.
Right. Or you can do it even more sly, but not deceitful. But you can do it more sly by just you have that mentor that you've already matched up with him, and he doesn't know that. So that mentor just goes up to him and says, "Hey, man, I'm going to be doing this. We're doing this event, and I'm going to be there. You want to come and join me? Can you help me out? I could really use somebody on the barbecue pit with me this weekend. Can you? Do you have the time to be able to do that? Get to know some of the brothers. I mean, that's all it takes.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. That helps. Not only does it fulfill both parts of the master-apprentice relationship, but it also fills the gap in areas that normally get missed with all the things that you're doing. And if you're a Vanguard Lodge, like what we were talking about earlier, if you're a Vanguard Lodge, you've got a lot going on, and you can't afford to have spots within the ranks that are missed. You've got to have people plugged in to make it happen. So, on Justin's note with the Scottish Rite, they have 2 degree teams for every degree. One for the spring, one for the fall. That's Dallas. And that's because they're intentional with what they're doing. And they plant these seeds at every reunion so that they've got a steady flow of people coming in as you have some of the older guys starting to fade out, and that just want to, they don't want to pull curtains anymore. They just want to sit and watch the degrees. That's cool.
I think
and that's important too.
To being proactive versus reactive.
Yes.
You are proactively
absolutely
bringing these up to people, proactively getting their willingness to be involved with things, as opposed to, hey, does anyone want to help out with a degree? Hey, I really need someone to bring some food to our next lodge meeting, yada 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 yada. Instead of being proactive and saying, hey, do you want to be involved with the kitchen crew? Do you want to be involved with this degree? Do you want to do this?
Right.
And that way and that way, instead of, hey, who wants to give the lecture? You said you want to give the lecture. Can you do it that day? You said you want to give the lecture. Can you do it that day? And just go from there. There are a few things in chat real quick. By the way, Trenton and Devin did appreciate my Star Wars reference. So, just saying. Anyway.
You have 2 fans. Nice.
I'm going to double your fans.
But you know what's sad? Your dad is my.
Brad asked and I already know the answer to this, I suspect. Brad asked, where can I find the Grand Lodge vision and mission statement? Dennis, inform us, please.
On the Grand Lodge website.
Uh-huh, but where?
Tucked away.
Yeah, you're being very
I'd
safe.
have.
You're being very tactful.
Yep.
I haven't seen it. So, that's...
okay, let me find it for you.
Let's look real quick. Let's explore this together.
Let's see who's faster.
Oh, no one goes to the member portal. Let's look
Oh
here.
my gosh, I hit the wrong one. Yeah, I hit the wrong one. I went to the member portal.
What a noob.
I'll let you do it since you're on your computer.
Yeah. Well, I'll spoil it. I don't suspect there is one.
Yes, there is. I've seen it. Unless they took it down. I've seen it. It's there. Now you're going to make me get on there. Hold on.
Yeah, please prove me wrong.
But
And
what
I don't mean
other...
that to
What
be
other...
facetious. I mean,
Oh, no. I'm the same
I
way.
would love
Prove me wrong.
I would love for there to be one, but I've never seen one, and I don't know that there is one.
Yes, there is.
But anyway,
Speaking of Grand Lodge, for all you guys that, all you brothers that came into this a little bit late, Justin and I are going to reach out to all the potential candidates for officer positions for Grand Lodge, and ask them to do a show, a forum with us online
yep.
for everybody in Texas to see. Now, here's the kicker, though. What we're planning on doing is actually a more secure platform, and do it through the accepted.org. That because right now there's only Texas Masons in that social media group.
And I meant to see about
and it's
live streaming this to that, and I didn't do that tonight. Oh well. We'll figure it out next time.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just had a thought out loud as you said that.
Okay, so
I love queso.
my thing's not clicking.
What thing? You having problems with your thing?
My phone. It's not taking the link for some reason.
You on the Grand Lodge website?
Yeah, first page. Freemasonry is a fraternity. Its membership is restricted to men. It exists to take good men and help them become better men. That's their mission statement. And then further down, it tells about some charities. Yeah, that's disappointing. Sorry, guys.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying. Like that's not.
There used to be a different one though.
Well,
it wasn't that.
It goes back. It goes back to what we were talking about. If you just declare what your vision and mission statement are, there's no guarantee that will stand the test of time, right? You have to agree as a leadership team on what that's going to look like. Otherwise, it won't necessarily stick around. Yeah, saying we take good men and make them better does really. Yeah, I agree. It's. Roland Bonnet says he takes their students to visit other lodges and help with lodge functions. Yeah, I think that's especially degrees. Like if you could take an EA to an EA degree, Fellcraft, yada yada yada, that helps so much because seeing is learning, and the more exposure they have to the things they're trying to memorize, the better off they'll do.
Yeah. Dang it, you're right, man. It's not there. There used to be a better one than that.
Should be front and center.
Yeah. Okay, I stand corrected. You win.
Man, I should have recorded that.
Yeah, you should have. There's your one for this decade.
Hey, out of curiosity, especially since we do have some new 30-second degrees on this chat right now, I have the course catalog pulled up.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. I had the course catalog pulled up for the Master Craftsman's program, and
Yes.
there's several of them.
There's three of them.
Well, we got
There's
hold
one,
on.
and well, there's actually four. There's one of them that helps you learn how to actually do the process,
Yeah.
which is not necessary to do, but it's free, so you can kind of get yourself in the mode of how this is done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other three are the ones that you need for certification.
Okay, so you have Scottish
I am
Rite.
a master craftsman, by the way.
You have Master Craftsman Wisdom and Reflection, Master Craftsman Philosophy, Master Craftsman Symbolic Lodge, Master Craftsman Ritual and History, and Y33rd. So which is the first one that... Oh, you also have Ordo Ab Kao? So what in the Master
They must
Steps?
have added a couple. The Symbolic Lodge should be your first one.
Symbolic
That's
Lodge
where
should
you
be
go
the first
through.
one.
That's where you go through esoterica
Oh.
and dig into what Pike believes the first 3 degrees are about.
Got you. Okay.
Philosophy should be last
Philosophy.
because that's where you're writing your papers. You're giving not papers, but giving a summary of what you believe.
So you have to read the books as you go through. Gosh.
Yeah, you have to have the monitor, the esoterica. You can actually buy when you purchase. Well, they may do it separately now. I think they did to make it cheaper, but at one time, when you bought the program, they automatically sent you the book for them. It was for the monitor. I
It
think.
says they have to be purchased separately.
Yes, they are.
I just try to decide if I want to get through my books I'm already working on before I start something new. Which I know the answer.
But yeah, you won't finish those books if you do.
Yeah.
If you start something new.
So Esoterica for the first one. I really want to do that. Anyway, okay. Now I know. Thank you. So
Man,
Trenton, now
I
you know
thoroughly
too.
enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Jason says, did Dennis just say Justin was right? Yeah, I know. I should have recorded this whole interview. So I could just cut that out. And anytime Dennis starts arguing with me, I'll just play it back. But oh well.
I knew the day would come when when it was time for me to lay down my working tools and walk away.
I'd say you got burned, but you read enough.
Right. That's obvious.
Let's see.
I'm a redneck.
Jason said, the philosophy course goes to all 32 degrees, includes essay and multiple choice questions. So I want to say...
that's the one you do last.
I want to say this, and this is not meant to be negative in any way. I'll just say I enjoyed all the degrees, but I did not enjoy, or less, I guess my least favorite had to be the 31st. I did not enjoy the format of that degree.
Really?
I did not, and it wasn't the lesson I didn't enjoy, and it wasn't the content of the actual degree. It was I haven't seen it conferred by other people, right? But the way that they roasted that guy, and I won't go into detail because I don't want to ruin it, but it felt like a roast, and I did not enjoy that. Plus, it was also at the end of the day, and I was ready like, hey, this is. But I'll say, like, out of all the ones I've seen, that was probably not my favorite. Is that your favorite, Dennis?
What did you think about the Rose Croix?
Rose Croix, which one was that?
18.
I'm trying to remember, because that was the first one I saw that day. Remind me what? Oh, you can't tell me. Let me just look here in my handy Bridge to Light book to see what it was real quick.
It's about the cubical stone.
Yeah,
and the word to.
I like that one because they started talking about. So what's interesting is in the other book I'm reading, they talked about the Tetactris, and then
Yes.
that caught my eye. I was like, oh, okay. So it definitely what I enjoyed about these degrees is during my studies, a lot of these concepts have already come up. So and those were my favorite degrees. If I'm being completely honest, the ones that really said, "Hey, there's this esoteric concept." There's a few of them. They don't all do this, but a lot of them to say, "Hey, let's stop what we're doing for a second. Here's this esoteric concept. Let's explore it briefly before we move on." And
Right.
that was really that's when I got really interested. That's what I really like. So that was really cool to see that.
Right. Yeah, I was tired by the end of the day during our degree. It was it was a long day. I mean, we didn't just do Saturdays though. We don't just do Saturdays. We do a Friday and a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And so during the spring we do the Friday and the Saturday, but in the fall, or no, now in the spring we do Friday and Saturday for 2 weekends. Or no, it's just Saturday. Dang it. Here I go.
But I will say,
It seemed like Friday and Saturday because we were up there setting up, getting ready for the degrees on Friday. I apologize.
so I haven't seen the second day, so I don't know about those. But on the first day, I think the fourth was probably
Yeah.
my favorite one that day. I think the 14th was probably my second favorite, and then yesterday the 27th. I think 27th is probably overall because it's
The
what I
brazen
like.
serpent.
Huh?
The brazen serpent.
The 27th? No, the one. 27th was, I don't know the name of them yet. Hold on. It's the one where they're, let me just find it. It's like here. 23rd, 26th. We're almost there. Maybe it
Okay,
was.
I'll be right back.
Sure. The 27th, Prince of the Sun. Or Knight of the Sun or Prince Adept. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because the reason I like that one, I think, is because it was almost purely informational, if that makes sense. Like straight up, just like, here's this concept, bam. Here's this concept, bam. And I think that was the one. That's my favorite one because it was just so much information condensed. In it was a different format. There wasn't a candidate really. It was just like here, just listen to us talk, and it was really good. I really like that. So there's definitely some good ones. Jason said he hasn't seen the 31st. Have you seen the 31st?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. That's kind of why. Okay, that explains why you kind of. Yeah,
No, that's the one that I want to take on though. I've read it.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the way it's done. Because I think if it was, I don't know how it reads right in the monitor or whatever, but and again, it's not. I'm not trying to talk bad about anyone because I mean I couldn't confer it. I don't know it, so I'm not trying to say it's easy or anything like that. I did not enjoy. It may be that it's designed to be delivered that way. I just did not enjoy the delivery. But
Well,
also,
originally.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Also, at the end of the day, and I was kind of grumpy because I was tired. So that's probably a big thing too.
Right. I was going to say, originally all the degrees were communicated. They didn't have the plays and stuff.
Mm.
When Albert Pike received the degrees from Albert Mackey, they were communicated to him. And then later on, Pike they gave him all the English, all the French transcripts so that he could, I'm sorry, I'm looking through my book, Morals and Dogma.
Yeah.
So that he could translate them all so that, they'd be able to do them all. And that's when he got into doing the magnum opus.
Trenton, I'm not going to say, honestly,
This was the first one before Morals and Dogma.
I didn't dislike the degree itself. And I'm not going to say I didn't like the way the guy conducted it because I haven't seen it conducted elsewhere. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be done. I'm just saying there's a certain. I'll put it this way: there was a certain part of the degree that I did not enjoy, and I would personally, if I had been the candidate, I would have had a hard time standing up there, right? Just because of my ego, my personality, character flaw, whatever you want to call it. But there was just
That's a fact.
There was just that one part of that degree I did not enjoy, and it kind of killed it for me. But I'm not saying it was a bad degree. I'm not saying it's the way the guy conducted it, because I don't know. It's just that.
Oh
one
yes,
part.
you are.
It's just that one.
We're
part.
all reading between your lines.
Hey, I just joined Scottish Rite. I'm not trying to make enemies, right? I'm just saying it was just there was one part of it. I was like, I don't really care for that. But and it wasn't like it was just the way it was done. I'm not saying that I dislike the theme or anything like that, because I thought that was cool. That was different than the others.
Right.
Jason says they have added new courses, so now you know. Talking about the Master Craftsman. And, Trenton says,
Now I'm gonna have to go back and do some.
He really liked 31st. It was one of his favorites for the story. I think the story was good. I mean, it was a good story. It was interesting.
Jason's a master craftsman as well.
Later, Brother Lawson. Thanks for hopping in.
Take care, Brother Lawson. Thank you for coming on tonight.
But yeah, it was definitely good. And issue is the meeting night coincides with one of my lodge meeting nights, so I'm gonna have to alternate.
Which lodge?
New Hope, my newer lodge I'm helping out with.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, well, if they can't manage every other month without me, they got bigger problems, I guess. Because I really want to be involved with this Scottish Rite. I think it'd be enjoyable.
Oh, the Brazen Serpent is 25th.
No,
that was one of my.
Sorry. No, did you hear what I said? What it was? Night of the Sun.
Yeah, Night of the Sun, Prince of Death.
Yeah.
Did they tell you that the 27th and 28th degree used to be flipped? In fact,
they did. They mentioned that.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was good.
Did anybody else have a carrying case just for their Scottish Rite books?
Am I weird? I like the smell of books. I'm just like sniffing it over here.
You're right.
What does it smell? You don't ever go to like a bookstore, you just like sniff it up.
Man, those old libraries, dude. I just love the way they smell.
Yeah.
We have one of the, I can't remember what state, whatever, came in and bought the old library from Goliad, and they made it some completely different thing. And you can still go in there today and smell the old books from the 50s and the 40s.
Especially
it just has that smell.
Like the corner, like the tucked away bookstores that nobody knows about, that has like the old books, like the collectible books. Not your half price. Not your half price books, but like your actual bookstores that are.
Man, I was supposed to go to half price books. Golly, my
wow, Jason, I'm not going to repeat what you said. So I'm trying to make enemies. But hey, at least I saw the 31st. You hadn't even seen it yet. Brad says, thank you, brothers, for helping me break down the mission and vision. I'll share with my lodge this Thursday. So, real quick, Dennis, I just want to say this. The hierarchy, Dennis may disagree, but the hierarchy, because it sounds like you're trying to wrap up, like you're trying to head out, so I just want to hit this real quick. The hierarchy of this, what this looks like, is you have your vision at the top. That's the first thing you need to talk about, because your vision informs your mission statement and how you want to go about doing it. As far as that goes, the lodge decides that. So this is where I think Dennis and I may separate on our thoughts here. The worship master, the direction that he needs to take is based off what that mission and vision statement are. And he does that in two ways. So you got first your vision, second your mission statement. Third is when you need to have where the worship master creates the SMART goals that determine the direction of the lodge is going to take that year based off the other two above it. And then the SMART goals are implemented through the committees. So ultimately, you have vision, mission statement, SMART goals, committees, and that's
and in my
go ahead.
In my personal opinion, those committees should have officers as chairs,
Mm-hmm.
as the chairman, because they should be responsible for their certain tasks to be done. If they can't chair a committee to get things done, they have no business being in the East.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to have, when you set this up, you want to have your officers as the chairman. Not that they have to do all the work. The chairman just facilitates. So you have the chairman, and then you have 3 brothers that this is what they like to do. You don't go and just pick brothers that, that don't care about fish fries and stuff like that to do a fish fry. You want to make sure that it's the brothers you always see at the fish fry.
And I would
that
also
are always
say,
helping already.
I would also say, ideally, at least in my mind, you have a tradition of this officer heads that committee. This officer heads that committee. That way,
Right.
by the time someone has gone through the entire line, however long that takes, this isn't a progressive line thing. It may take 15 years to go through the line. It may take a few years. It just depends. But by the time that guy is ready to sit in the East, however long that takes, he has had experience with every committee in that lodge, so that he knows what the expectation should be and how things need to be done by the time he's in the East.
Right. And then
What's up, Cesar Rubio?
Also, by the time he's in the East, he'll know what everybody's job is, without question. That's why it's so important to have this succession planning. That's another reason why, I should say, is so that you know what the jobs are of the people that you're supposed to be managing on behalf of the lodge. Mm-hmm. It's also, in my opinion, that on top of the forums that you go to, and on top of you proving your efficiency in ritual opening and closing the lodges, I think it should be a requirement for the officers to go to secretary training. They should also go to treasurer school, so that they know what the job is of those 2 brothers, because that's how stuff gets messed up, is when brothers that have been doing it one way a long time and don't realize that it was the wrong way from the get-go. Mm-hmm. and then all of a sudden you're getting your charter pulled because y'all been doing this for years and everybody's just signed off on it because he's been the secretary for years.
Yeah.
But they no longer do it that way.
Well,
so now everybody's in trouble.
Even if you just send your secretary to secretary school, for example, you don't know what he's coming back with, and you don't know that if he's actually implementing what he learned. So
I still do the secretary schools online.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Do.
Yeah, your officers should go. Your officers should participate in secretary school, as well as your secretary. That way, they can hold him accountable too.
You inspect what you expect.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, that's and not to be that guy that's got his thumb on everything, because that's not your job. Your job is to trust them with their job. But like the late great Ronald Reagan, trust but verify.
Yeah.
So you really do have to be able to look at the books and know what you're looking at.
Well, just because one guy goes to secretary school doesn't mean he picked up everything, right? And
Right.
It's not a negligence thing.
Especially if it's just one.
Well, especially if he's been doing it for 20 years. He may just kind of be there just to check the box for the lodge. Or he may, he may not catch everything. So you send more people.
Or he may not be interested in all the new tech that's available to him, and he's not telling you that it's available.
Yeah. So that's why
I've seen that happen.
Surely not. Good night, Dad. Thanks for coming.
Good night, Mr. Jones.
Oh, I agree. So you go.
Brother Jones.
That way you're.
I want to say Mr. Jones because he's your dad, but I should have said Brother Jones.
Mr.
But
Brother
I like
Jones.
making you sound inferior.
Brother Mr. Jones.
I thought about you this weekend.
Jason said
when
he
I
tried to go.
When I heard that song.
Jason said he tried to go to one of the Grand Lodge secretary schools, but it was told that he didn't need to because it couldn't improve on perfection. So maybe you should be writing all the material for the next one, Jason. Is that what you're volunteering to do?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
All
Oh my
secretaries must
gosh.
wear kilts at all formal meetings.
I got my new I guess it's called a sporan. I don't know if I'm saying it right or not. I'm
No,
probably
the knife.
bastardizing it.
The knife.
No, that's the dirt. I got
What did you
my
call
new
me?
sporan.
You got
You're
derp.
such a dirk.
Derp.
I got that in too, and I got my flashes. They're
Yeah.
here. I got flashes that almost match our tartan perfectly.
Mm. That was my thing. I was looking at the boxes, and I was like, their outfit's way cooler than San Antonio's. But it's like, I'm just not a kilt guy. I'm not a kilt guy. I don't really want to. That's just not me. That's not me.
What's cooler than a tuxedo?
Not wearing a kilt.
Man,
Just kidding.
did they open steel and bagpipes
They opened
in
what?
Dallas?
In Dallas?
Did they open with bagpipes and the Arch of Steel by the Knights of St. Andrew?
Totally. It
Like
was
July.
they had like a whole line of trumpets and like an arch of steel. It was like a mile long. I mean, no big deal. And
Throwing rose petals
with it,
at your feet.
yeah. As a matter of fact, throwing rose petals. They had a full band. Um, Fireworks. I think there's fireworks. So I mean,
Yeah.
no big deal. 21 gun
Yeah.
salute. You know, just the usual.
Yeah. Wine maids just trotting along next to you, pouring your. Yes, I get it.
Yeah,
I
man.
get it.
Exactly how we roll. Well, let's go
No, I'm
ahead.
just excited
Huh?
because I'm excited because I'm finally getting all my stuff together to where I'll be ready. Ready.
So does that mean you're gonna wear a kilt to the next summit?
I might.
Hmm.
I might, just out of respect for Jason doing it. I may do it just to say, my bad.
You have to see Justin in a kilt. Nah, you don't. You don't see Justin in a kilt. I mean, I'm sure I look really awesome. It's just not me.
The good thing is that you only really see somebody's knees because the socks or the hose that they call it, it goes up to just under your knee, and then the kilt goes right above your knee. So all you really see is the knee. You don't see anything else underneath. You don't get to see the bright white legs that everybody has.
Hey, are you going to? Let me look see if I can find it. Lucas Minton left a comment about something Scottish Rite in Arkansas next year. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's the centennial. Yeah, they have.
How's it a centennial?
They're our sister
Oh yeah, I guess that makes
lodge,
sense.
they're our sister lodge because we both have centennials in the same year. And
Uh-huh.
yes, I'm going up there for sure.
Are you? What is that? May next year?
Yes.
Hmm. That could be
Yeah.
fun.
Let me look on my phone. Yeah, I'm definitely going because I had to miss this one for a wedding.
I mean, when a grand officer from another state invites you, I guess you should probably take it seriously, huh? So
He's more than just a grand officer to me. He's my bud.
He's well, yeah, that too. You might run into a wild Kohanki up there too. Who knows?
Well, of course I will. That's where I'll be staying.
Oh, he gonna let you stay in his backyard?
Yep.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'll put that on my calendar.
Yeah, May 10th and 11th, and 12th of
Is that-
next year.
Is that a weekend?
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see how.
It's Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, so.
You might not be going. Sucker. I'll take
10th,
my
11th,
bride.
12th. I'll just tell her we're taking a Mother's Day vacation to Arkansas. And be
I
gone.
want you to experience those hot springs, honey.
Yeah. Might just do kind of like the summit and just let the women just like here's some champagne, go have fun.
Oh no, that will never happen again. I assure you. Oh my gosh. That was
It was like The Hangover, but with a bunch of wives.
yes, and they had fun, but that's too much for me. I'm not that. I'm not. Yeah. Uh-uh.
You seen that movie before, right? The Hangover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you were walking around with them too, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well.
Being Mr. Helpful, I was just ignoring them. I was waiting for them to just disappear.
Yeah. Well, they kind of scattered eventually. Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Man. No, you heard them
But,
as soon as you went to the hotel too.
oh my God, yes. I just thought I wanted the wives to get together. Oh my goodness.
Oscar says, "Please no." Come on, Oscar.
But yeah, so next next year is so exciting. I mean, it's still exciting this year. I'm going to Zerny Lodge uh, in November. Is it November or December? And then on the way back from Grand Lodge, I'll be staying with Brother Tim Fleischer. He asked me to speak at Salado Lodge, and it's the Robert Burns. It's going to be awesome. So I'll have I'll have my kilt on and all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to speak on legacy, and I'll probably throw in one of the Robert Burns poems, but I'm actually going to speak on legacy, because when you think about it, when you have lodges all over that celebrate your legacy, that's something to be proud of. And I don't know that many of the brothers have aspirations like that anymore. I mean, the aspiration is to become Grand Master, right? But what about just being just a badass Mason and having that same kind of an impact on people and the legacy like that?
I'm going to be talking. I'm actually looking at my calendar right now. I'm supposed to be talking there next year. Ooh. I may have to. What day is their meeting? Do you know?
It's on a Monday.
It's on a Monday.
Monday night, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. In fact, it is.
I set a date with Timothy, but I don't see it. Oh, there it is. I'm going to talk there on the 18th of March, and I do not know what I'm going to present on.
I'll be in. I think that's when I'll be in New Mexico at the Grand Annual Communication.
Mm. When is the Perfect Union event? Isn't it Perfect Union that does don't they have like a Masonic con or something they do down there?
Yeah, they've got an expo that they're doing. Yeah.
Because I think I'm supposed to. I'm not presenting there, but I think I'm helping out.
Yeah, we were going to go down there and do and represent Masonic Improvement and help out.
Yeah.
I
don't know if they still need my help or not, but they asked.
They're going to do. Yeah. They're one of the lodges there is doing a series, like a symposium of really cool speakers, and I was asked to be one of those speakers. I'm pretty excited about.
Talk about the expo?
No, this is a symposium.
Where's that? Where's that at?
This is being created by. It's going to be hosted by Triune Lodge, and it's got several speakers. I think there's 5 or 6 of us.
It's good to see all these things coming up.
Oh yeah,
it's good to have options, because as we learn from the summit and as we've seen from other events, like there's always conflicts. There's always people that want to participate but they can't. So to have more options, that's really good. So Oscar's joking, but maybe he's joking. He suggested we have a Masonic Improvement cruise. We do need to figure out what our inner circle get-togethers going to look like in January, and start putting that out there. But
Right.
I'm not a. Yeah, I think. I don't know about a cruise, but I think something like that could be fun. Just inner circle. We are talking, Oscar, about doing a like a retreat, inner circle retreat, sometime next
Yeah,
year.
that's what I would rather do personally.
Yeah.
Just because there's no way I can go on a cruise without my wife, and I don't think that's an atmosphere that we'll be able to sit down and just really visit and talk about Freemasonry and take all the rabbit holes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it might be fun one time just to kind of unwind, but
Right.
I need to take my wife on a cruise before I go on a Masonic Improvement cruise because she's already wanting to do that. So,
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, something. So we are doing something most likely in January for everyone that shows up at Grand Lodge. So probably just be a dinner. Nothing like not like a day long formal thing, but we'll probably be doing something. And then
Yeah, in fact, what we ought to do is plan to I don't know. It could either be Thursday evening when everybody's coming into town, or have it be Saturday after installation.
we should probably do an inner circle. Do we have a guest on Wednesday?
This Wednesday?
Yeah.
No.
We should probably do an inner circle Wednesday and maybe start the discussion for that. Just see what everybody wants
Right.
to do, and that way
Well,
we can formalize it.
Yeah. Because if we have to, instead of going to a restaurant or something, we could just rent out a hotel room and hang out and have drinks and talk Freemasonry or whatever.
That sounds fun. I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I do that on almost every occasion with some of my mentors, and that's some of the best times I have.
Yeah.
Speaking of some of my mentors, Brad and Chris are forming a podcast.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, and it's going to be. In fact, we need to do a Zoom with them soon and help them get established. Theirs is going to be on books and authors. They're going to be the bookworm podcast for people, which is awesome. It's a niche that needs to be filled, and I don't know of any two better people for that.
They're some of the most well-read Masons I know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brad, I mean, he went and got his master's in theology, later on in years. He was a HR executive for years and then went back to school for theology. He's very well read in all that kind of good stuff.
He's a wise man.
Yep.
All right. Well,
that's why those two are my mentors.
We've been doing this for a while. You have any final thoughts?
Yes. I say hats off to the brothers at Royce City Lodge. I'm so excited that they're taking the steps to attempt to become a Vanguard Lodge. Because if you're doing that, you're doing Freemasonry. That's what it's designed for. It's not there to have all these feathers in your cap or get special parking that you no longer get at Grand Lodge. It's really, if you do everything that's in that booklet, then you're doing Freemasonry in a real and intentional way. That's what that guideline gives you, is an intentional roadmap for success in your lodge. And it covers all the bases. It covers, like I was saying earlier, it covers the food, fellowship, ritual, esoteric education. I'm forgetting one, aren't I? It's number 5. I got to go back and watch.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the Vanguard.
That first podcast.
Yeah.
I've got the book because I'm in charge of putting it together for my lodge this year. But if you're doing that, you're doing Freemasonry, and hats off to them. And if you're not doing the Vanguard, then at least do what we were talking about tonight. Set up your vision statement, mission statement, and put people to work.
Yeah.
Get your committees formed around what your vision and mission statement is, so that you can be more successful. And it doesn't mean that you have to, and this is where Justin and I do disagree. You say that the lodge determines the culture. Well, at first, sure it does. However, through the mentorship program, you can change the culture of the lodge. And in doing that, you can turn a lodge into a fish fry lodge to an educational lodge, or shift it to where at least it has both, has a fellowship portion to it, to where you go out to eat, with new candidates or whatever once a month, like they do in Hillcrest. You can funnel your energies, make intentional paths to success for your lodge by implementing a mentorship program and making it all point towards your vision and your mission. You can, and with the lodge, if it's tough for you to figure out both the vision and mission statement this on the first go around, just do one. If all you can do is come up with one, that's the one you want to center everybody's minds around, and then do all your projects to get to that. And if that's all you can do, then that's great. That's all you need to do to have a successful lodge. However, in Vanguard, it wants you to do both, which is good to do. If you know how, it's good to do. Right. But I'm going to help. I'm going to help them put that together, because they are doing a great job, and they already know what direction they're wanting to go and stuff like that. So I'm just going to help them get through it the first time, and then they can adjust it and tweak it later after they have their meetings with the past masters and so forth.
Yeah, it's good.
So
yeah, hats off, definitely.
Yeah, hats off. That's a lodge that's intentional with the Freemasonry, and they want to be here for the next 100 years. That's what that says to me. That they're not okay with the same old that we've been doing for the last 75 years.
I love it.
And so if there's anything I can ever do to help, I may offend a lot of people.
Surely
expressing
not.
my truth.
Surely not.
Expressing my truth. But if I can help just one lodge do that, it's all worth it. Because that one lodge is going to support 80 Masons.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's what it means to be a mentor. And I'm not even going to be a mentor to them. I'm just going to be a coach. I'm going to be their cheerleader and help them put it together. That's
a visual I did not need, Dennis.
But that's what we should be doing as mentors. I am an apprentice to somebody, and I'm also a mentor to somebody else. And that's what we should be doing within Freemasonry. We should never be just an apprentice, and we should never be just a mentor. If we are only a mentor, then we think we're too smart for everybody else, and then we're going to fail. We're going to fail, and we're going to set up all those that we're helping to fail if we're not smart enough to know that we should be an apprentice to somebody.
True.
That's the reality of Freemasonry. That's the reality of all business and all civic groups as well. That if you're not doing that, you're not intentionally shaping the future of your lodge or business.
That's great.
And otherwise, I used to say it a lot more often, and I said it last week, and I want to say it again. Brothers, we know that not every lodge is perfect, but there are a lot of lodges doing a lot of good stuff. So if you feel like you're in a lodge that you're on an island and you're the only one that thinks this way, maybe it's because nobody checked out what your interests were when they gave you the petition to join. If they had known your interests, they might have sent you over to another lodge. And what this all boils down to is no matter who your lodge is now, You can always visit another lodge. You can always find your Freemasonry. You can find that light in some lodge. Otherwise, if you're too far away, then hopefully we can help to become the light and help shape some ideas that you have jumping around in your head. Maybe we can help shape those to where you can present them to your lodge and start shifting a focus to a new culture instead of just doing the same old, wondering how we're going to survive. That's what we're here for.
That's good.
We love you. We thank you. Keep it between the points.
I'll just say real quick. I wish Dennis had told me this, but he never pointed it out to me. Is that if you join Freemasonry really looking for esoteric concepts to be explored and you're not finding that in your Blue Lodge, definitely should look at a Scottish Rite. It is, Dennis, I don't know if you know this or not, but it is the University of Freemasonry. And
I knew it. I knew you'd come around. Once you saw it, you'd understand.
So if
people don't understand, do they?
I'm not suggesting abandon your Blue Lodge by any means, but
no,
definitely if you're not finding what you're looking for, and you're not getting those esoterics, those deep explorations that maybe you're looking for, Scottish Rite, man, that's where we go. That's where it's at.
That's where they play.
That's where
they play. Yep.
So, I mean, Dennis,
awesome.
If he had told me this, I probably would have joined a long time ago. But very, very negligent.
But I keep too many secrets.
So, anyway, that's
awesome.
all I got.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Congratulations, being one of the newest masters of the Royal Secret.
I'll say this. That I had already, and I'm not trying to be conceited or anything, but I had already studied at least superficially a lot of the concepts they talked about, and so I really found myself wondering, if I don't think they talked about anything I had not really at least heard of. So I was like, I wonder if that's what determines, because they said they had 2,000 members of the Valley. Well, surely there's not 2,000 people showing up for the meetings. So I was like, I really wonder if that's what determines a soul's activity. How deep down the rabbit hole? I don't know. So, because I figure there's two people. You got people that are interested in esoterics but haven't studied it, so this is all new to them and it blows their mind. And then you got people I enjoyed it. I'll put it that way. But nothing blew my mind. But it did put me on some on some trails to explore. So I just, because you got three types of people that join just because they have no interest in esoterics, they just join, they probably don't stick around. Then you have the esoteric guys that are learning new things that maybe haven't explored it, or maybe don't really know they enjoy it until they're introduced to it, and then the people that have already read about it. I feel kind of like this is probably a good analogy. A lot of lodges will tell someone when they petition, don't research Freemasonry before you come in, because you're going to come across stuff that's going to ruin the experience for you. I feel like I ruined my experience by reading so many flipping books before. And I wouldn't say it was a bad experience, but I feel like a lot of things that were probably like trumpets, here's a Tetactress. It's oh, well, yeah, that's cool. So I feel like maybe I read ahead when I shouldn't have.
Yeah, well, and to be honest, just seeing the degrees, that's still just a superficial understanding of what's actually there.
Oh yeah, especially the stuff I was talking about that I enjoyed, the esoteric stuff they introduce. It's just introduction, man. I mean, there's no way you can fit the entire thing. It was meant to do exactly what I said it did. It kind of puts you on the scent, but it doesn't lay it all out for you.
Right. Well, and it's also you're drinking from a fire hose, so it's it's very difficult to keep all of it in perspective. It really does require going back and researching, and after you've seen it, then going back and researching it, and it helps if you have all the books. That's why I'm such a big fan of the Master Craftsman program, because it requires that you buy all these books so that you can do the program, and then you can formulate this big picture
I can see
that
how
you
it
weren't
make you
able to
very well
do.
read by the time you finish it. I mean, if it
Oh
starts
yeah.
off with esoterica, I hadn't looked at the other ones, like the other programs, but if there's a book for every one of them, and there's 4 or 5 of them, I mean, that's. Let's see. Okay, so you got.
Well, there's some that take 2 books in the same one.
Yeah, there's 2 books. I don't know what the other one is, or maybe it's just the course itself. You got esoterica, and then a monitor and guide. It looks like,
Yeah, that's the
and
monitor for the degrees. Yeah,
I don't
I've got
see.
that one too.
What's the book for the philosophy course? Let's look. Oh,
In
Morals and
fact,
Dogma by
yeah, it's
Otero de
Morals and
Hoyos.
Dogma. Yeah.
Yeah, the annotated edition. Okay, so I mean those are pretty dense books that are highly touted. So by the time you finish all the programs, you should be pretty well read. Anyway, it's almost
Well,
11.
and it's a much deeper conversation after that.
Well, it's guided too, which I think is helpful. All right. Anyway,
Right.
it's time to wrap up, man. See y'all
Yep.
next week.
I'm glad you finally get it.
Yeah, if someone had only told me beforehand.